Welcome, welcome. Today we have Master Drummer Asante. Asante has played with everyone. He's played with greats like Hugh Masekela, Fleetwood Mac. He's did the Graceland tour. He's played with everyone. Today, Asante is going to share his experiences with you. And believe it or not, he's going to show some rhythms. And if you're not careful, you just might learn something. Welcome. Welcome to DBeat.
My name is Okyerema Asante. I'm a master percussionist from Ghana. I was born in Koforidua in the eastern region of Ghana. I started messing around the drums at the age of 3. In the evening when my sisters are washing the dishes after dinner, I'll be right there with them in the kitchen and I'll put like 3 or 4 pots down and beat the hell out of them. I was always putting holes in the pots and pans and was getting into trouble for that. My parents looked at this and they wanted to stop me from beating the pots and pans, so they bought me a matching miniature snare drum so that I would stop beating the pots and pans. But that is only one drum. So I'll put that drum down and still add 2 or 3 pots and pans to it. My uncle, who was the master drummer at the palace in New Germany, detected my interest in drumming and started to talk to me about it and started to teach me simple things on drumming. My uncle's name is Okyerema and he's the master talking drummer and the senior master drummer in the New Germany Palace. I've never seen no mean and bad drummer. He's the baddest, I mean the best. When he was teaching me, you know that talking drums has 2 tones, the female and the male tone. The female is the higher and the male is the lower, and the female is on the right and the male is on your left. So my uncle was also positioning himself behind me while I stand in front of the drum. And he would teach me something to play on the drum. See, this is the stick I use. This is my drumsticks here. But I have worked on these sticks, you know, I'll talk about it later, but this stick has been worked on. In raw, it comes almost like this. I've started working on this one, but it becomes, in raw, it's a branch from a tree like this. You know, and it's had no this fancy stuff on it. I'm trying to develop something with it, but that comes raw. So he stands behind me with 2 of this, and he has used the bone, my right bone here, my cheek here, as the female drum, and the left bone here as the male drum. So when he tells you, play this, you play it right, you cool. If he says play it and you play it wrong, he will play it there for you. He will play it right there on the bone for you. So when he does that, it's painful though, you know. So So to stop you from doing that, you have to get it right.
That's called beating the rhythm into you, huh?
That's right. So I asked him why he does that. He said, no, it's good for you. It's good for you. It will make you serious. You know, you don't like it. I know that you don't like it. So if you don't want me to play it on your back, get it right. He would take me to the palace, you know, sometimes, and let me play with the elders. They'll give me a part on the cowbell, you know, and after, because like in African music, cowbell plays a very important role because the bell player is a timekeeper. So if you want to learn, if you want to study traditional African music, the first instrument you are taught is the cowbell. You play the cowbell for years, maybe 2 or more, or depending on how sharp you are. And by playing the cowbell, you get to listen to the other parts, you know, in the group. And you get to also study the other parts whilst you are playing the cowbell. So let's say if somebody don't show up and you are asked to, okay, take that drum and play with them, you know exactly what that person plays. So playing the cowbell gives you the opportunity to study the other drums. So they don't just move you onto a drum when you are a beginner. First, you learn to play the cowbell. So I went through this with my uncle, and then he started to teach me how to communicate with the drum. Like in Africa, messages were sent from place to place by means of the drum, the talking drum. That was before the arrival of modern communications. We were sending messages by drum, and we still do to keep the culture alive. We still do. And so the talking drum plays a very important role in our culture. And the talking drum, which is called a chumpan in my language, is 2 tones. It has 2 drums, the higher and the lower tones. The higher is a female tone and the lower is a male tone. And the female tone is always placed on the right hand side. And the male, which is the lower tone, is on your left hand side. Even if you are a left-handed, you have to play with the high on the right and the low on the left. This is because when you switch it and you are playing in public and some other master drummer showed up and say you want to jam with you, you can just jump on the drum straight and play. But if you think you are left-handed, so you switch it, and somebody comes in there like that, you mess the person up. So even if you are left-handed or whatever, you are learned to use the male on the left and the female on the right.
Which tone is the most dominant tone as far as soloing?
Soloing, it depends. Mm-hmm. It depends on both. Like I was coming to that. The talking drum being for sending messages, for talking, is also a leading instrument in the rhythmic, in the rhythmic pattern. Let's take, for instance, Adoa, for instance. Adoa has about 7 players, from the cowbell to the other backing drums to the talking drums, which plays the lead. So the talking drums is also a rhythmic instrument. It is very important. We have many music that we play the talking drums with. We play fontomfrom. The talking drum plays as a leading instrument in fontomfrom. And fontomfrom is a kind of rhythm. We use the big, tall drums carved from the logs of a tree, heavy drums, heavy. You know, when you want to travel with it overseas, you pay a lot of duty for that because they're damn heavy, you know. So those drums, two of them, it comes in a group of 5 and still have the talking drum as a leading instrument on that.
So now you're going to demonstrate how to play the rhythm. And can you explain what the rhythm actually is, what the name means?
Adwa is deer, you know, and like, I don't know why we name it like that, but it is a great rhythm. It is used, you know, in functions, all forms of functions, like adoring, parties, to funerals. And it's mainly used by the Ashantis. Ashantis play Adwa. And in Adwas too, it comes with a dance. Have a special dance for it. And we also have Kete. Kete is also another form of rhythm that Ashantis play. And that also comes, about 6 people play that. And that doesn't have the talking drum in it, but it had a big drum called Kwadum playing the lead role. And Kete and Adwa, it sounds, in fact, the cowbell is very similar. So whereas the Kete has one cowbell that goes like ting 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 ting, Adwa also have 2 cowbell patterns. The one goes ting 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 ting, and the second cowbell pattern goes ting 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 ting. So mixing those 2 together brings the difference, you know, between the Adwa.
Gives it a whole different feel.
Yes.
So now what we're going to do, we're going to break and you're going to demonstrate for us, if you would.
Now we're going to see the talking drums also being used as a rhythmic and a leading instrument. The rhythm I'm going to teach you today is called the fontomfrom. Fontomfrom. Fontomfrom is the name of a drum that was carved from a trunk of a tree. The drum on my left-hand side here is fontomfrom. Originally, the fontomfrom is about this high, but I cut it down to be on the same level with my setup. This is fontomfrom. And fontomfrom is played by 5 people. It has a cowbell, 2 fontomfrom players, the talking drums as the leading instrument, and 2 other backing drums. I'm going to demonstrate how each of the rhythm of the fontomfrom goes. So grab your bells. Now I'm going to start with the cowbell. Cowbell, let me tell you a little bit about cowbell. Cowbell is a very important instrument in African music. It is the timekeeper. It's the time. So before a beginner is allowed to even touch the drum, to steady the drum, you will play cowbell maybe for about 2 years. And playing cowbell for about 2 years has a very positive side too. Because like cowbell is a timekeeper. You cannot just jump on the drum if you cannot keep time. When you play the cowbell, you also get the opportunity to study all the other drummers. You know all the parts they're playing. So when the opportunity comes and you are asked to fill a spot, you already know what the drummers are playing. So you just jump in there and play with them. So grab your cowbells and come on with me. This is fontomfrom. That's the cowbell pattern of the fontomfrom rhythmic pattern. Now we go on the first backing drum part in the fontomfrom. And we're going to follow the same bell pattern. Like I told you, the bell is the timekeeper. So it goes like. This is the first backing part in the fontomfrom ensemble. Now we're going to do the second drum backing part for the fontomfrom. So just be on your congas, grab a stick, because all these parts are played by the sticks. They are stick drums, you know. So you can grab a stick, grab your congas, and play along with me. And the second part is now we're going to go to the talking drum. The talking drum is the leading instrument in the fontomfrom group. But in the fontomfrom, two fontomfrom drums, like this kind of drums, are used. Two drummers are playing these tall drums, and they play the same thing. And I want to let you know that fontomfrom is played mostly by the Akan and the Gan tribes of Ghana. And there are many different forms of fontomfrom, many different variations of it. The one I'm teaching you right now was composed by me. So I'm going to teach you the part of the talking drum as a rhythmic instrument and the leading instrument in the fontomfrom ensemble. This time, the talking drum plays what I'm doing. The talking drums and the fontomfrom drums are doing a question and answering. The talking drum asks the question and the fontomfrom answers. So the part of the fontomfrom is So right now, I'm going to play both the talking drum and the fontomfrom, and also the backup drums plus the bell at the same time for you to see how it all works. Like. Thank you.
A percussionist is like, let's say you are cooking your soup, right? The music is the soup you are cooking. And the percussionist is the person that put the sweetness on the sweetness in the pot to make the soup taste good. You see, if you put just enough sugar here, just enough pepper here, just enough onion here, that it makes the soup beautiful. If you put too much salt here, you spoil the soup. So percussionist duty in music is put the sweetness on top of what the other musicians are doing and making it beautiful.
I'd like to thank you. It's been a great experience. What are you watching?
DBeat.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
The beat is the heart and soul of any music you hear. The beat is the heart and soul of any music you hear.